KP classes dedicated to excellence.
Hello everyone. Today we have Mr. Kritarth Jaiswal with us. He has cleared the exam and also the interview for the Deputy Architect post for CPWD, the overall requirement which was conducted by UPSC for Central Architect Service. Uh, Firstly, congratulations on this wonderful achievement, Kritarth. And
Thank you.
uh, right. From the initial discussions with Kritar, I know the challenges, the roadblocks which you have faced, and it's an inspirational journey to put it in simple words. So I would like to begin firstly by requesting you to talk about your overall journey for the selection of deputy architect in the CPWD. Take us through the milestones, the challenges. How briefly can you describe your overall journey?
Sure, sir. So, greetings everyone. As sir mentioned, I'm Kritarth Jaiswal, passed out from Government College of Architecture, Lucknow, and I had this UPSC examination which I also cleared. So, apart from that, I was mostly a person of batch of 2022 over there in GCA. So, I would like to thank my teachers over there, and names worth mention are like Professor Rajiv Kakkar, who was the head of department, Mohammed Sabat sir, proctor over there. He's also retired professor, and current like HOD of my institute, Dr. Ritu Gulati ma'am, and ICBS sir, a god figure who saved me from my illness and supported me and kept an continuous eye on me and my mischievous activities. Apart from him, Professor Ajay Mishra, a person of understanding who led me to ask right questions and gave me the direction to move further. Professor Eshu Shukla, a teacher of sociology who met in my first year and the one who put me through the path of awareness and acceptance, and Professor GP Sir, an arts teacher who told me and made me go through what art is and made me an artist who created himself while throwing colors of experiences on canvas and merging and linking it with memory and wisdom of understanding. Librarian L.K. Mishra Sir, who was fascinated by reading and wanted a reader in his library, so he gave me clues, experiences, and moral support with tenderness of his soft personality. Professor AP Sir, a person of value, who saw something in me which is worth knowing, and I will express that loyalty is done with your own self. And Professor S.V. Rai took my understanding of structure to whole new level. Professor Fareem Banu ma'am, who made me realize about factors affecting architecture and history like politics and stigma. Uh, Professor Anjane sir and Professor Wabo sir, Sheikh sir, Tabish sir, Tajwa sir, and acted as my brother, shaped my journey in a way that was needed. In gratitude, I want to say thanks to all staff, colleagues, and batchmates, and old friends like Jad, Azhar, Sitej, and Radhika. Life is not a race, but it's a phase of character of which you play, converting unknown to known. Today, I stand before you not merely as a deputy architect, but as a living testament to resilience, to the infinite complexibility of the human spirit, and to the power of becoming your own truth. This is not my just my story. It is a call for all of you who may be struggling, doubting, or simply walking on a trust path of self-discovery in a way. Actually, I'm a person who was dealing with schizophrenia, OCD, and psychosis. I have a 40% benchmark disability of mental illness, uh, and I'm under treatment from BHU. And my doctor is Dr. Mona Srivastava, who had helped me in various ways. And this illness of mine made my thinking horizon in different domains. Just not thinking about architecture as a visual element or something like to be experienced, but it is more than that, which is an embodiment in itself. My college days were not that easy. Like I did my alma mater from Lamartine College, a place where I learned and grow my courage, resilience, and my grit. That's my second home. And where I faced betrayal, disrespect, misunderstanding, professor doubted me, peers judged me. But those hardships were my force. I refused to let anyone else doubt become my truth. and I wasn't just surviving, I was progressing. It even after that, my I won't say that my fate was cruel, but it was looking like that at that moment. But for now, it now for now, as a person observing my own journey, I will say that that was a kind of a journey which I had, which shaped me like a pot. When a artist make a pot, sculpt a pot, and he adds water on the clay and reshapes it. Like when pot get hardened, he again puts water and reshapes it. So all the experiences and what I have faced are like reshaping me in a way which is more adaptable, and lot of love stories which came into my life. Like the one I will like to mention is Apurva, whose presence etched in my heart like a prayer. I still silently recite. A love that never about possession but presence, that taught me depth beyond words. Then Kajal, who brought warmth and honesty and the difficult lesson of holding someone with grace even when we parted. And always my mother. My mother's name is Savita, who stood like a pillar, tirelessly feeding me, standing on one leg, ensuring that I could keep going. Like I was working and she was standing next to me and feeding with me spoon, dal chawal and stuff like that. So I can I can never express these things like in words itself, but these are more of a phenomenal uh, uh, touch which adds into my story. Uh, like if you go through some sort of hardship, you will see that there's a lot of politics around, there's a lot of things around going, but make sure that it doesn't affect you in that way, like in negative itself. Just be positive. So apart from that, KP classes, I took a crash course and got some books from KP classes itself. And I would like to thanks Mr. R.H. Chandra sir itself, who is in front of me right now taking my interview. I don't know. I never thought I will be having this conversation with him. What I am having right now. So my rebirth as a candidate and an architect began at KP classes. Here structure and discipline met empathy and respect. Chandrasur was just not a teacher, he's a clarifier of chaos actually, a guide through the labyrinth of knowledge. Pulkit Sir offered his classes at a reduced fees, not because I asked, but because he respected my struggle. These men and the community they built helped me focus my fractured energy. They gave me a sacred space to rebuild my confidence and skill. The silent, and I would like worth mention is like my silent companion, which is Chat GPT. I used to ask questions through Chat GPT, and mostly I have prepared my interview itself from Chat GPT itself. Like I have prompted different things like there are philosophy teachers sitting over there in the panel, and there is a psychologist, there is a sociologist, there is a structural engineer, there is a valued architect, there is a commercial architect too. So as per that, I created a framework for my own interview, and then I gave answer to those questions in voice notes, and I was like very happy with the results. That I was able to clear the interview in a way that boosted my morale after all. And my spiritual family, godfather and godmother on this journey, I was never alone in a way. Dr. Vandana Segal ma'am is the dean of my college. Who's the dean of my college? She's my like godmother who taught me that architecture is more than bricks and the mortar. It is the transcendence of space, the embodiment of experience. Prakash Venglate sir is an evolutionary biologist. He lives in Canada and a scientist in University of Saskatchewan. So he's a kind of a god father figure to me who guided me through philosophy, ethics, and the vastness of being. And his Advaitic and Buddhism merging philosophy is very intriguing to me. And at last, I have my gratitude to Aurobindo Padhyatji. Uh, he's like the godfather, brother, and everything. He's just like Advait, non-dual. When I talk to him, the moment become embodiment. Like we are not separate. Who showed me how Advaita dissolved the illusion of separateness between self and space. So and my research temperament made me a person what I am right now. And currently, I'm working on the research aspect, which I did my dissertation in college, which was about transcendence and architecture. And I'm taking forward it to be a phenomenology and then epi philosophy or something like an existentialism and Ad- Advaita and architecture. I'm combining all this aspect and trying to see the architecture from different lenses like linguistic and whatnot. The blueprint of my life. Today I stand here not just as a deputy architect, but as a man who rebuilt himself through pain, silence, and relentless hope. I'm here to tell you, you are not your illness. You are not your mistakes, or not your setbacks. You are the architect of your own destiny. Your mind, your story, your struggles. These are your raw materials, and from them you build your own truth. To all who struggle, I feel if you feel broken, remember you are building. If you feel lost, remember you are finding your path. If you feel silent, remember you are becoming. You are your own blueprint. The world needs your voice, your courage, and your light. Thank you.
That was a wonderful set of words which took right away from your college days, where you began by giving gratitude to your gurus who gave you that basic foundation on which you are built. Took us through your whole journey. That for sure is inspirational, Kritarth. You did face a lot of challenges, but rightly towards the end, you could finally clear this UPC, which we were always looking forward for. It's really wonderful that you, I feel, are one of the most deserving candidates, and for sure you have cleared it, and it is a wonderful moment for every one of us. And I'm sure no one is more proud than your mother, your family, for sure on this. So I would like to also ask you some specific questions about preparation of this exam, particularly Kritarth. So can you tell me what was your preparation strategy, particularly for this exam? How much did you study? What was the effort required for the exam, particularly?
So I would like to first tell that the 5 years of experience in my college and my study over there, it was kind of enough, but it was not structured. So I needed a kind of a person who structured it for me, and I didn't have that much of time to do that. So I needed a kind of an organization or join some organization to help me with that thing. So KP classes was the best option available for me. So I attended the lectures, which were like 2.5 hours to 3 hours, and mostly I attended the offline ones, and I used to do it in 1.5x speed, and used to see all the video in a some smaller time, and 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 I try to cover more video and pause with just in a single day, and try to take the notes from that video and have my own point of view about the same thing, and try to think about uh, the linked phenomena of the given aspect. So the exploration horizon kind of dwells deeper. So that was the strategy of my learning. And notes where I've written the notes like in a very in a manner that some is red color, some is white color, some is blue color, some is green color. So that was as per hierarchy and some like my own intuition about what is more important, what should I what should I focus more on. So these were the things like how to write a note or something, and I was not writing any paragraph or something. I was just looking for the keywords and key aspects and key statement which concludes everything. So that was my overall structure of the note, and kind of a strategy to how to make a note, and have my preparation move forward.
That's wonderful. Even so, running notes of lectures. I personally do when I teach. I do write only the bullet points onto the board. That is the way I put short notes always in preparation. You should never write lengthy paragraphs because you don't read the complete paragraph time and again. It is always easy and handy to read bullet points, and that's a wonderful strategy you had in your preparation. Notes. That's the key for everyone to prepare for any competitive exam for sure. Uh,
And there's one more strategy for the exam itself, which I would like to share. Like there were 100 questions or something like 120 question in BPSC or something. So my strategy was that let's not do the wrong questions. If you don't know any question, just don't go for it. First do the right one. And I was like 60%, 65% I was right about the question. So I just gone there and clicked it. And some question which I didn't know, I didn't touch it. And some question which I was bit confused about, but I wanted to attend it just because of my kind of a confidence about that topic or something. So for that, I left those questions in starting and saved it for the end. First, focus on the right question which you want to do. If you know 50% question and that is right, if you know the 50% question and if that is right and it gets right in the exam itself, so you're selected. And if you haven't did any negative got any negative mark, I think this is the whole idea of the competition, because 50% question selection question, then it is like you have cleared the cutoff.
Right, always target for the easy questions first, then move to the difficult ones at the end. That's a good strategy for the exam. So, Kritarth, can you also talk about the interview experience? How was the interview experience at UPSC? How long did it go? What were the key questions about? Was it on your architectural work experience? Can you talk about it?
Yeah, sure, sir. So when I was sitting in front of my interview panel, which was the office itself, and I was sitting somewhere 2 meter apart from it. There was a guy, some staff member, who took me towards the interview cabin, and I was very humble to him, and he was very humble to me. So you should try to be positive before interview, like we try to treat everyone in a way and give respect so that you get the positive energy from everything around. And I saw a staff member who was giving waters and stuff. I tried to interact with him, and there was a kind of a lady sitting in front of me who was in another panel, and she was going to give the interview. So I complimented her and even said her best of luck. And soon I enter the interview chamber or hall or room. So my first gesture was that he smile with confidence and entered with a body language which was very specific in a way. And I didn't had any very kind of a suit or something. I just was in t-shirt, sorry, formal white shirt and brown tie with a blue pant. So that was enough. The head of the team told me to sit over there. So I got near the chair. Uh, when I sat the chair was a bit misaligned with the person which I was facing. I noticed it subconsciously and became conscious of it. So I didn't move my chair or something, just moved my head a bit, aligned with the main person, and he took a note of mine, which he had like that application form where I wrote about my philosophical amusement about like I don't want anyone to I would not want to my philosophy to anyone. So he was like, why do you want to impose your own philosophy to anybody? Like what's the reason behind that? So this was the first question itself. So I was like, sir, everyone has their own point of view and their own rules. So it's better to understand their own understanding before imposing your own values or systems onto them. So in starting the philosophy, the most question was the philosophy from the philosophy itself. And it was from philosophy because I had written something in my application related to philosophy. So the first, so he was like he asking me question related to philosophy itself. And as I am a follower of Advaita Vedanta, so he kind of dwelled a deep bit in the philosophy of Advaita Vedanta, and I answered them correctly. And after that, at the last he asked me the question, "Who is the Gandhi of Indian architecture?" So I was like a bit confused at that moment because the architect sir who was sitting left side of me asked me a question about uh, in between in between question about like uh, what is this whole presentation is about, which was on my portfolio. So I was like, so this is housing which I had did, and there is a kind of a building which I have made sections of it. Like the concept was came from Kanchenjunga apartment. So I made a kind of a housing of that sense. So and when the person who asked the head of the team asked me the question about who is the Gandhi of the Indian architecture, so due to the mismatch uh, context, my mind was triggered with Charles Korea, so I answered Charles Korea. Then everyone in the room was like, "Oh, Charles Korea." Then I was like, "Okay, I did a great mistake, and my body gesture was totally out of context." So I was not afraid of that. I I was like this. Like this. Oh, I made a big mistake. It's not Charles Cook, it's Laurie Baker, sir, the brick guy. So he was like, yes. So that body gesture was not something which was negative, but I managed it quite beautifully. The interview with the main head was something like fluent and was formal but yet unformal, informally formal, neither too formal, neither too informal. So it was like at a like I was walking a rope. It was that kind of interview. And then he passed on to architect. So he was looking at my portfolio and asked different questions related to FSI, FAR, and like he was like looking at my presentation drawings, and also he was like, "From where did you did all these presentation? What kind of space you used and stuff?" And then as he was looking at my presentation drawing, he was like, "What is more important aspect in the drawing?" So I was like, "Sir, it is about measurement unit and all the working details and stuff like that." So like, he was like, "Where is that?" I was like, "It's a presentation drawing, so you can go, go backward and you can see my working drawings and all. It's all there." So he was like, "Okay." And then I added a lot of bodybuilding projects in my portfolio. So he was asking question related to reverberation time and stuff. So when he asked the question, I was like, he 0.69 seconds. And he was like a bit amused. That in seconds I gave the answer. Like Chandra was the reason behind that, because uh, that way I understood about the reverberation time and stuff. He cleared my concept in KT classes about reverberation time. So he asked me a question like, "What will be the reverberation time for you for uh, like uh, bhakti songs or like religious songs or something?" So I was like, "Yes, I'm not aware of that because that requires a bit of echo, kind of aura to be there." So after asking those questions, he was like, "What's the difference between FAR and FSI?" So I was aware about FAR area ratio and FSI full form full space index, but actually I was not aware about FSI to be percentage of that FAR. So he was like, we don't know about FSI then. So I said, sir, I will read about it and get back to you. Then he was like, good. And he passed it to another person who was a civil servant in structural architecture, structural related field. So he started to ask me questions related to and accessibility and stuff. And and later he asked me a question related to fire norms and related to auditorium buildings, what measures, what precautions we will be taking in auditorium buildings for norms, like we need any kind of a refuse area in auditorium. So I was like, we don't need any refuse area in auditorium because it itself is a public building which has lot of entrances and exits, and it is not a very kind of a secluded area where people get trapped or somewhere. So I was like, refuge area is only required in the high rise buildings and stuff. And after this, so like, okay, let's conclude this interview. And that's how my interview got over. And while walking behind, I closed the door and just the feet of the threshold and came out.
Okay, that was a wonderful description of the overall interview process. And from what you said, it is clear that the questions were focused on the technical aspects, including all the basics of fire safety, accessibility aspects, and also acoustics, also the FAR, FSI calculations built up. So it was an overall holistic one on all the technicalities of architecture. It was wonderful talking to you, Kritarth. I'm sure your journey will be inspirational for others in the future. Your inputs, I'm sure, will be very useful for those who are in the path of their preparation for the upcoming competitive exams. Thank you for taking out time again. And I would like to conclude this by again congratulating you. And I wish you all success in your future endeavors. All the best for your future.
KP classes dedicated to excellence.